We good?
No, wait. All right, that should be enough.
Okay, great. He's Kareem.
That's Ray.
How are you? How you doing? Okay, this is our second podcast. We just kind of wanted to kind of go over like the week's events as they transpired, and the number one thing going on right now over the week was Donald Trump Jr.
Yep.
Obviously, he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
That's an understatement.
It's an understatement. From what I understand, he basically put out a press release. You know, I guess he met with some attorney, a Russian attorney who was connected to the government, and during the campaign, because this lady apparently through a contact from this universe, blah blah blah. You know, everybody's probably heard about it, but it's I guess he was set up a meeting to meet with her at dinner, and because she had some dirt, so to speak, on Hillary Clinton, which that's illegal to begin with, but you know, I don't know. Apparently, from what the law states, you can't meet with any foreign officials or any foreign official. Anybody who's from a foreign nation cannot participate in our elections, and if that would be considered illegal to get any type of information from them based on where the person is from. They're not an American citizen.
I don't think that's the thing. I mean, because people do talk to foreign governments. The thing is, it is common. What they say she did is normal. Talking to a foreign government to find out what their stance might be on certain things that affect foreign policies. Like, you can kind of just go in and basically ask, like she did, so what do you think about this whole adoption thing? You know, would you want to keep up this adoption thing, or would you want us to, or would you be willing to help me push letting the U.S. adopt babies? That's basically what they ended up talking about, what they said they ended up talking about. Because the story
understand what the whole thing was
the
about.
The story got really deep. It was crazy because what happened is, well, we're on Sunday, so this is the end of the week already. And, excuse me. But what happened is, like you said, it's not that he was talking to a foreign official. It was that he initiated the conversation and showed us the email saying that they were saying that we have dirt on the opponent. Mm-hmm. And they were saying that this is to basically agree or to help you or to show our support for your father, to show our support for Donald Trump. And so it was done with the intention of Russia supporting us, which then goes into what was happening last week with all the hacking stuff, showing that Russia is definitely trying to support Trump. There's no question now. His son literally just put it out there in the fucking email. They said in the email, this is to show our support for Trump, Russia and its government. Okay. So if you're claiming that Russia and its government, and you're a known kind of big player in government over there and all that, is backing your father, then it's obvious that the entire, that Putin and the rest of them are too. So the problem is that he said all that shit. It wasn't that he talked to who cares that he talked to a fucking Russian? We probably talked to 30 Russians a day. It doesn't matter, even if they're spies. It's irrelevant. Mm-hmm. It happens. That's why we have intelligence agencies. They keep a track on all this shit. The problem was that he was doing it with the intention of getting information. And then what he used as a defense is what's so hilarious, because he said that, oh, well, I didn't get what I was looking for, which is the funny part, because that's tantamount to saying, like, yeah, like me, if my wife saw me with another woman and I was walking with her, obviously like out on a date or something, and she says, well, I saw you out on a date with that woman, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I was trying to fuck her, but she didn't want to fuck. She wanted to just talk and have a good time. It's like, well, you asshole, the intention was the same. Trevor Noah had the same joke, but it's the same thing. It's like you're saying that you were trying to do something, but you're innocent because you didn't get to do it. Like, I tried to rob the bank, but I didn't. So, sorry, cops, you gotta let me go. Right. Like, no, that's not the fucking case. But he's so privileged and stupid that he thinks that that's the way the world works.
This is a non-issue.
No, it's not, because, like I said, that's his problem. It's not because he fucked up royally. He tried to basically do something illegal and then failed at it, if he's telling the truth. That's if he's telling the truth right now.
Right.
Because he could just be lying. You know,
Right.
he could just be flat out lying. That lady could be lying and playing him. That lady could easily be a Russian spy. It's just like, no, I'm not. There's a history there with her working with the Russian government and all this other shit.
Mhm.
And then she went from being basically working for the government as a spy, basically, to working privately as a spy. So now the only thing is that she can say,
Oh, she's a private contractor.
she's like, I don't work for the government, so I'm not with the government, and that's her excuse. That's her out. But it's like, no, you are, because you did work for them, and you've never proven to be anything but an ally to the Kremlin and to Putin and the rest of them. So it's just like it got so twisted now that to me, it's that somebody has to pay. I mean, it's getting really bad. Like, it's obvious now that Russia fucked us and played our election and fucked with our people and fed us false information. They got people fighting.
My question is this, though: if they did it to this election, how many elections did they basically like participate in, or you know what I'm saying, like try to and not be, and they were never caught?
Well, now they're getting caught. Like the last one was in France. In France, they got caught for the same thing.
Russians?
Yeah, there's a whole thing with that Macron guy, and like however all that happened. That apparently they were trying to get his opponent elected. It's crazy. And they're getting caught now left and right because now they have samples and examples of how they do it. Where before they're really good at what they do, and they'll find a way to still spy and to still. It's not so much spying as it is influencing. That's another way that they get away with it, because the internet is a global thing. So we have the power to go influence Russia just as much as Russia has the power to go influence us. I could post this podcast from a Russian IP and spread our information all over there rather than target it in the U.S. It doesn't matter. I can target anywhere. See, people are kind of new to the internet and don't really know how all of this works. Oh, yeah. So I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people don't know how in detail it works. And like, I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of do. And it takes, I don't know. It's weird that it's taking over everything, and it's more like an influence, and the people are just allowing it to happen. And there's so many obvious trolls and fake accounts and just bullshit information that people are feeding into. It's just hilarious. Like, if you go on Reddit now, most of the like dumb comments that people leave, like they'll leave comments saying, "Oh, if it's like a pro-Hillary thing, like Hillary is stupid, Trump for president," and people just respond under that, like, ignore it. It's just a Russian troll. It's just a Russian bot. Ignore that shit. Like, that's how deep it's got, that anybody talking shit on either side now is just like, nah, you're just a fucking bot. You're just a stupid Russian trying to fucking influence us.
Wow.
So, like, we've lost a strong foothold, which doesn't seem like much, but this is how things start to fall, always.
But let me ask you this. Now, you recall the elections, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah.
Where it was a tight race between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah, you're gonna talk about what Hillary did, huh?
And okay, let's say hypothetically, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Let's say hypothetically the Russians did interfere, right? And they released those emails of that. I forget who the lady was that was running the national convention. She ended up resigning over that, but it was her and Hillary were kind of getting together and say, okay, we want you to be the Democratic nominee for the ticket for the presidency. So let's kind of get rid of Bernie, and they did, and they released those emails, and like going. Man, they had evidence. They hacked it and released that showed that they basically screwed over Bernie Sanders. His own people in his own party.
Yeah, but that's common. I mean, your own common. It's not uncommon for your own party. Everybody's jockeying for position,
right?
And this is the name of the game in politics. Never did a Russian come over here and hand her that information. At least that they showed. So maybe they did. maybe through a lot of different channels they did, but it wasn't direct like it was with, it's not the same. They didn't go to Hillary. There's no email saying, yes, because we want you to be elected. Russia loves you. Here's some free information on your opponent. There's no email like that.
There was no dirt on it. All it was that it just showed how they, you know,
yeah, but no, that's common. I don't give a shit. Me and you aren't. For one, we're not experts in politics.
Right.
I mean, I know a bit. I studied it a bit, but it's common for people to be that harsh, or even more harsh in politics. It gets fucking cutthroat. It's not a game for weak people.
Oh no.
And that's why, like, that type of shit doesn't faze me. It phases the average person because they believe the veneer. It's adorable. It's like I said, the internet is fresh. It's like watching a bunch of little babies learning how to walk to me. Because it's like, it's adorable. It's like, oh, you guys really believe this. You really think this shit is real. Like,
That's
you can't,
cute, you know?
Can't even form your own opinion. There's fucking flat earthers out there.
I still can't believe that people believe the earth is flat.
So, you know.
Have you seen a new television show? It's like they touch on politics a lot. Jim Jeffries.
No, I haven't watched it.
You should watch it. It's
I know
very,
who he
very
is.
funny. He had like these guys, like these conspiracy theorists. He had like a little panel of these guys.
Oh, those nuts, yeah.
And he was just kind of interviewing them, and one of them was a flat earther. And I was sitting there just like looking at these guys, and I said, "Really?" I was like, "Wow." Even has Brad Pitt as his weatherman. Yeah, it was kind of the real Brad Pitt. He has Brad
you know
Pitt
why? You know I'm not. You know why I won't watch Jim Jeffries?
Why?
I'm sick of British people coming over here and talking about our fucking media. And talking about our country.
I know John Oliver does it. John Oliver does it, you know, but if you got to think about it, though, that's one educated man.
I don't care.
At least he's educated. At least he knows. I wish I knew 1/3 of the shit this guy knows about our own government shit.
I don't care. No, I'm just fucking with you. And don't forget, it's not him that knows it. It's him that's presenting it.
Right, he's presenting it.
He has a staff of, what do you think people with political science degrees do?
But you know what? Jim Jeffries is not English. He's Australian, actually.
Fuck that.
Yeah, he's an Aussie. It's hilarious. I
had a
recommend
feeling
it. It's
it was
pretty
awesome.
funny. You know, so he came up with his own healthcare bill, and what he did was he just grabbed bits and pieces from different countries around the world because they all have their national healthcare, and he put it all together, presented it to America. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, he called it Jim Jeffries healthcare bill, but it's a pretty interesting thing. But I'm just kind of going off.
You know what works really good is a lot of like gamers and shit. They're on this shit called Twitch, and it's like YouTube but for gaming. But it's starting to take over YouTube because of ad money and shit. But anyway, and like they get like what's called a Patreon, right? So they get people that'll either donate money right away or they donate on a subscription basis.
Right.
So like, you know, they'll get like quite a few people. Some of these guys will be making like 10-20 grand a month on Patreon if they're really, really ridiculously big.
Wow.
Like, you know, through that and other channels, they can get huge amounts of money. I would say like the average bigger one probably makes like 5 to 10 grand a month doing it.
Jeez.
But at any rate, if people are willing to give these guys a couple bucks a month, right, for their bullshit, just gaming shit, like, I know it's not all Americans, but I'm assuming quite a bit are because who we are. Right. But how hard would it be to get Americans to just throw like a couple bucks into a Patreon account that pays for everybody's health care? If you got like everybody in America is what, like I think the last time I checked was 350 million people.
Throwing a couple of bucks.
Yeah, I was throwing a couple bucks, and then the government subsidized the rest. And you know, I don't know how much healthcare is a year. I'm assuming it's a lot, but at least a part where people get basic coverage, where they can go to a doctor and check if they have something bad. Now, if they got something really bad and they need treatment, yeah, charge them a little bit more. They have to throw a few more bucks into the Patreon, but either way, that's how I would do it. I think that, but I'm an idiot, so.
But there's like, I don't know. There's just like all these different things. Like I don't know. I'm not even gonna even pretend to even know about this healthcare bill. I mean, and how to make, and you know what? And no matter how you slice it, you're not gonna make everybody happy with it.
No.
You're always gonna have some people that are against it, or you know, pro or against. You know, just somebody's gonna be pissed off about it.
We completely went off track from the Donald Trump Jr. thing.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? So Donald Trump, well, yeah, he's an idiot. Okay, he shouldn't have admitted.
That's pretty much it, right?
He's
yeah,
an idiot, man.
The guy's a fucking.
They say as far as like
so stupid.
As far as the Trumps are concerned, he's not the one. I mean, he looks very, very similar to Donald Trump. You know, like you notice his likeness, but that's about as far as it goes.
I don't know. It's disappointing.
Yeah,
it's disappointing.
Maybe he's the disappointment. In the
I don't
family.
think so many people were hoping for this guy to fail, man. Like, you know, it would be dope if he proved everybody wrong, but he seems to just be proving everybody right and just time after time.
So what is that? So what does that do about the legitimacy of his presidency? It's always if they found out the Russians colluded, even though they've probably colluded for years on many elections. No. So how would they? So what would they do? Just kick him out and redo the elections? No. What?
It depends on how bad. If a foreign country does directly interfere with our country, that's treason. So anybody involved in it would have to get locked up, and that would go for probably Pence and that. I'm assuming that the thing to do would be to wait years while you slowly collect all the evidence like the FBI likes to do. Mm-hmm. And then once you've gotten everybody you can fucking finger for it, you bring them all down in one fell swoop.
Wow.
And just say, hey, yep, that's the thing that happened. We let you run around as president for long enough. We got to have new elections now. And then, just take an emergency election.
Have him do the perp walk?
Yeah, and then you take an emergency election and the Speaker of the House, whoever is not going to jail down that reign would go.
I would assume that's probably why a lot of the Republicans are distancing themselves from them.
Yeah, oh yeah, because the more that he does shit like this, they're like, oh man, they're going to look into us. We got to get the fuck out of here before they find out what we did. Because I'm sure they're all fucking dirty as shit. But it's politics. Again, I don't blame them for being politicians, man. I guess it's just because I don't really like them. That's the only reason that I'm like, oh yeah, fuck this guy. That's the only reason I have. I have no reason to not like them. I don't know them. Mm-hmm. But I just don't like what they do. I don't like the actions that they take. I think that what they've done is they've been a history of bigotry and just hatred and just ignorance and stupidity and needless violence and celebration of just dumb fucking America. And it's not that I'm trying to be like a West Coast elitist or anything like that. I'm not that at all. But I'm not going to celebrate my stupidity. You know what I mean? I'm not proud to be a fucking idiot. And it seems like that's what that a lot of that allows.
But then again, you got to think about it. And again, this kind of goes back to, what was that guy's name? The old guy who used to own the Clippers. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah. With the black girlfriend?
Yeah, okay. So people act all all surprised that an old rich white dude is prejudiced. Like, come on. You're even acting surprised. Oh, they're all prejudiced or they're racist. Like, come on, man. Old rich white dudes. Come on. What do you think? You think they're not prejudiced? I mean, come on.
I don't blame them for the way that they talk. That's the way that they talk. To me, I don't give a fuck about the language. It's the intention of it. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I think in his case, he wasn't doing it as far as being racist so much as he was just doing it as far as him being publicly humiliated by her being around those guys.
Right.
And I don't think, I think that the language that he uses is just the fucking language he uses,
What do you mean?
When he was saying, I don't want, he did say, he dropped the M-bomb, right? He said nigger here and there, didn't he?
Who is this?
The Clipper guy when he got caught with his girlfriend on the recording.
So did Bill Maher. Bill Maher used that term.
But I'm saying that this is what I'm trying to say is that him saying nigger, who the fuck cares?
But it's just a word. And
then here's the thing is that she knew he would do it because she started recording him. So he must have been doing. It's common for him. Do you get what I mean? And if it's common for him and you're used to, what the fuck do you care? Again, it's not about that. It's not about race. He uses stupid language. That's his problem. Like you say, he's an old white guy. The problem is, was his intention white black people are gross, stay the fuck away from him? No, he was fucking with a black girl.
Yeah.
So he's obviously not oh God, black people. He was just no, I don't want you fucking hanging out with these dudes. It's embarrassing. I'm trying to let people know I'm not I'm still young and virile and shit, and you're over here looking like you're fucking basketball players. You want to do it, go fuck them. I don't care, but just don't do it in public.
But the whole point I was making was they were talking about this guy made it across. Almost national news. It was national news what he did.
Yeah,
and it's okay, here is the example of a rich white dude who basically, he said what he said, and of course it's just but people act surprised like that there's still old rich white dudes that are that have something some issues against people of color.
Well, no.
So, here you got Donald Trump. He's an older dude. He's in his 60s, and he's
He's
rich.
older than that.
Okay, well, I think he's in his 70s, right?
Yeah.
70s. Okay, so he's an old rich white dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got issues with people of color. He's a billionaire. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the issue? He's a rich white dude.
No,
So
that's inexcusable to me. Fuck that guy. If he's got issues with people of color, that means he's got issues with people like me and you based off our name. If he saw our names on a list, he'd be like, fuck that Mexican and fuck that fucking sad nigga. Right off the bat. He wouldn't even think about knowing us or anything.
That's his stupidity.
But that doesn't mean we can't hold him accountable for it. He's not brain damaged. He's not fucking brain damaged.
But at the end of the day, how's that affect me?
Right now, it affects you because he's the president and he's instituting policies and putting people in power that do make those decisions and that agree with him. Because he wouldn't put people in those positions unless he trusts them. And ostensibly, nobody trusts people that don't kind of agree with their politics and their beliefs. Now, I'm not saying he's completely racist. He's not. He's probably slightly prejudiced, and he has these stereotypical beliefs that most people like that do. We work with people like that all the fucking time.
Right.
And that's not, again, I hold him accountable for it, but I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. I don't give a shit. It's like you said, that doesn't affect my day-to-day life. But
it's not like you're going to change him.
But it doesn't mean that it's not going to piss me off seeing this guy up there every day talking. Mm-hmm. It just pisses you off because you know this guy doesn't like you. Just because of your color or whatever it might be, he has some preconceived notions. And like I said, the people are celebrating this. They're celebrating his ignorance and his stupidity and saying, yeah, this is the way to go. Yeah, go Trump.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's stupid because all that does is just embolden, I guess you could say that. I don't know if that's the word. Embolden ignorant people that are prejudiced anyways, and now they're overtly coming out.
They feel comfortable with it
because the president. But still, it's like, look, the president just governs the nation.
But they don't see him like that. They see him as a fucking leader. He's like their dad. He doesn't
know these people. He doesn't give a rat's ass about.
But they think he does.
That's crazy. It's insane.
They don't know this. They don't sit there and read this shit. They don't study politics like that. Most of them, and if they do this, they're in their own echo chamber, like most of us are, where we just learn what we're gonna. We're not gonna hear the outside too much. We do here and there, and if you really go out there and look for it, like I do, and shit like that, you go to these alternate websites and you read what they have to say, and then you see if you disagree with it or agree with it. And it gets kind of weird because then you're looking at shit, and they make good logical points. They have good reasoning. You agree with some of it, and then you start to realize that that's how they get you. You're going to agree with some of it just because you're a person. And because you agree with some of it, you're going to start to, like I said, you're going to start to kind of feel those people. Like, oh, yeah, these people, I agree with what they have to say. Let me see what else they have to say. And they'd be like, oh, that's not right. Let me see how they explain it. And they explain it away. And oh, yeah, now it makes sense. And now all of a sudden you're going down this trap of becoming somebody that you never thought you'd become even, and you're not even aware of it. And it happens to a lot of people. And a lot of people willingly go down that trap because they get triggered or pissed off about it. But that's just stupidity. And Bill Maher saying nigga, that was a funny fucking thing. I want to talk about that for a second. I got a rant. I got a rant about that.
I just thought that was funny.
I saw so many fucking black people coming out like, oh.
He said the N-word. It's like,
I thought it was the dumbest fucking thing. He said it in such nonchalant, who gives a fuck kind of way.
He did it to himself. He goes, look, man, I don't work the fields. I'm a house nigga. That's what he said. And it's like, what was it? Al Sharpton. Ooh, man, he has some words for him.
Yeah, slap the fuck out that fool. And then I saw a thing about Oprah, and Oprah comes out and she's all like, the thing people need to realize is it's not just a word. And then she points to this picture of these African people black people getting hung. A family, and she's all like, think about it. The last thing this family heard when they were being dragged out was people shouting nigger at them, and then they were hung and murdered. I'm like, yeah, it's a fucked up thing to remind me of. Thanks, Oprah. Bill Maher was making a joke.
Yeah.
You made it all fucking serious. You made it all sad. And now me is being half black. I guess you think about it like, oh man, that's pretty fucked up. Like, my ancestors, my relatives back in the day had to go through shit like that. Like, that's pretty fucked up. And I wasn't thinking about that when Bill Maher said it. I was just thinking like, oh yeah, that was a pretty funny joke. Like, it's just the way that he said it. Like, I could say this. I don't give a fuck. Just popped out with it.
I just thought it was kind of clever, but hey, but some people just they don't find. See, you gotta be careful, like especially comedians. Comedians now, it's like what was it? Bill Burr. I mean, he's giving interviews and talking about you have to be. Yeah, it's like okay, 75% of the people, or let's say 95% of the people find that joke was funny, but there's that 1%. Or that 2% that just found it offensive, and you hurt their feelings, and now that you owe them an apology, and then they got to have a news conference, and it's like, oh my god, and it's just a way for them to shine the light on their what they call it, their cause, so to speak.
Yeah. It's all politics. It doesn't matter. It's all political. They're not fighting for anything fucking decent.
I mean, look at Oprah. Oprah is considered one of the richest women in entertainment today.
Yeah.
She's like the richest.
Yeah.
And what? She's all offended and sad, and she considers herself a nigger? No.
And wait.
Why would she consider herself? She's richer than God.
Wait for this one, though.
What?
I thought about it real quick. I didn't look into it yet, but I thought about this real quick, and I'm like, okay, I looked into it a little bit. She opened schools in Africa for young black women, right?
Right. Okay,
young black women that were never ancestors of slaves. Their parents or grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents were never called nigger, never under the threat of being lynched or murdered or raped or taken advantage of or any of that bullshit that she was talking about, right?
Right.
So if a black person, a nigger from America, who his family had that history and is suffering still under the oppressive regime that you believe is out there, and you're saying is causing these problems and shit,
right?
Where the fuck is the support here? Do we have to move to Africa? Do black people have to move to Africa to get Oprah to support them? She's all like, "Don't call me nigger." Oh, I'm not supporting them. I'm not building schools in America. I'm not going to fucking Compton and building a neighborhood.
Oh,
I'm not donating millions of dollars to the inner city, books, iPads. I'm not helping these because, okay, let me explain real quick to people that might not know this, but the school system is based off the taxation of the houses in the areas. So when you devalue an area like they tend to do around ethnic neighborhoods, the school receives less money, which means that more students, because you're usually in a poor area, mostly apartment buildings, less property value, less money for the school, less money for good teachers, all that shit, they get garbage. They get taught nothing unless the parents care enough to teach them at home, or they find good teachers. And instead of Oprah going into those communities and evangelizing and saying, hey, look, this system is fucked up. Somebody do something about this. I don't hear any of that. But the second a white guy says nigger, she's out here talking.
Mm-hmm.
She's out here talking. I never hear a fucking word from her about that shit. She wants to talk about helping the black community. Help them. Help them, you stupid cunt. Help them. What the fuck is your problem? Your book clubs. You think black people give a fuck about book clubs? Half of them can't even afford to fucking feed themselves. You got niggas in Detroit fucking killing each other just because they can't deal with it. Right. Because it's too hot. It's like, fuck this shit. And they're murdering each other left and right. And this bitch has the audacity to come out here on her fucking high horse in an air-conditioned privilege and talk to a white woman and go, yeah, he shouldn't say that. No, fuck you. Do something. You stupid bitch. Sell your house. Loan it out to black people. Do something. Anything that proves to people that you give a fuck about their community before you dare have the right to chastise this guy. Same for Al Sharpton. But at least Al Sharpton goes out there and talks. But again, he only talks, like Bill Burr said, when it forwards his political belief, which is being an aggressive black guy. I'm the guy that stands up for the black guy. We don't need people to stand up for us, motherfucker. We need opportunities. Give a black guy the smallest amount of opportunity and he kicks the door open. You gave him a tiny little bit of drugs and that fool became a millionaire. You gave somebody like Jay-Z a little bit of cocaine and that motherfucker became a record mogul. You know, you give black people, Hispanic people, I'm not just saying blacks, but I'm saying it because of Oprah mainly, but you give most of these people the tiniest bit of opportunity and they just run with it, and they have ideas, and they create for their community, and it's a niche that nobody else can get into. And then all these white people want to come in and go, yeah, I'm cool too, and then they want to be part of it, so they start fucking joining up. Go to Olivera Street, it's fucking all these white people trying to be Mexican, and like fucking yeah, so it's ridiculous, dude. I hate that shit. I hate that stupid shit because you have so many black people, like a lot of rappers and shit like that quietly give to the communities, or even ostensively, you have like Snoop Dogg. They've paid for everything for his kid's whole little league thing. His whole kid's fucking football little league, paid for everything, uniforms, field, all that shit, paid for it all, and he coaches them. And that's this motherfucker's high as shit, 24/7, and he's still doing more than Oprah, and with way less money. And he's still doing more than Oprah because, again, you get these kids off the street and put them in football. Anything. That's what saved me. Is fucking just finding something else to do. Just, I mean, yeah, I'm not getting into my history, but yeah, it's like, fuck, you just give them something else to do. Music, whatever.
The extra, what do they call it? Just extracurricular activities, because if they're just standing around being bored, they have nothing to do.
But how can they afford extracurricular activities? This is the thing.
So I'm saying that the schools don't have them.
So it's amazing if somebody like Oprah comes in and says, hey, you know what? I made it in media. Let me fund your school to have a media program. You know, we'll get a few thousand kids after school in this area. I'll pay for the buses and everything. We bus them over here and we start teaching them.
That's why there was like this, that one black scientist that I really admire is Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, yeah, everybody does.
I like that guy. I just think he's amazing. You know, like, he was a 10-year-old kid from the city, from Brooklyn or Bronx or something like that. Went to go to the what do they call that, the Hayden Observatory?
Yeah.
You know, and it took off from there.
And met Carl Sagan,
and that was it. That's all she wrote.
And think about it.
And that was a white dude. And he had an influence on this little 10-year-old black kid who ended up being who ended up taking his
And not only that, but think about it. Neil deGrasse Tyson he was a dancer in school, I think he said, and a wrestler, right? So on top of doing all that other shit, he kept himself busy, out of trouble, out of the hood where he was. And not only that, but he never once said, and you don't hear this from any successful black person,
right? Like,
oh man, yeah, it was hard. White people tried to keep me down. No, it doesn't happen. If you're willing to work, people will accept you and say, hey, yeah, this kid's doing good. You know, he's not, I hate to say it, but he's not like the others. You know, he's trying to do more. But you can't be your stereotype and expect to further your shit. Which leads me to another thing that's crazy to me is that, like, I'll talk to you about that Arizona ban.
Okay.
So that guy, the governor, I think it was, or some shit like that, he decided to ban ethnic studies. He canceled classes for, like, some Latin, Hispanic heritage or some shit like that.
Right. So and ethnic studies.
No, just Hispanic heritages. That's what he canceled.
Ethnic studies. That's what's called, ethnic studies. Right?
No, this was specifically like Hispanic, and then people were like, "Oh my God, you're racist. You're cutting out Hispanic studies, right?" But what people didn't cover was that was the last one, because he had already cut out all the other ones. And the thing was that or some shit like that, and he basically said that he was cutting out all of the ethnic study stuff because he didn't want students worried about that type of shit. Like, he didn't feel that in school kids should be learning about culture and that type of stuff. He thinks that when you're going to school, you should be learning about what you need to learn about: math, science, history, gym, that type of things.
It was Governor Jan Brewer.
Yeah. And so he was... And here's the thing is that people were up in arms, but I completely agree with them. Because here's the bullshit, right? Here's the bullshit that people will latch on to until they fucking die. And that's this, I hate to sound so bad about it, but that's this cancer of culture. And it's like believing that your culture is all that you are just cripples you from being able to do anything more. And let me explain a little bit about this thing. I wish I could remember the name of the study or the guy that did it, but I can't. But there's basically a class system in the U.S. that's like unspoken. And each class is pretty much only aware of the class above and the class below it. Okay. So, for example, if you're middle class, you're aware of like upper middle class and then lower class. If you're upper middle class, you're aware of lower upper class. You know what I mean? But it goes up pretty high tiers, and it gets to a point that like there's people that don't ever spend money because their money that their family accumulated, and that the wealth that they've built and the connections through that allow them to get everything for free. So if they need to, say for example, and it sounds crazy until you really think about it, and then you go, okay, let's say you're one of the Waltons from Walmart, right?
Okay.
And you need to go to Paris. How do you get there? You jump in a car with a driver that you own, you pay for. Right. You drive to a private airport, not a private airport, but an airport. You get in a private jet with your own pilot. It flies you there. And this is all paid for by the company, Right, yeah. So you're not spending any money, not a dollar. You fly over to Paris or wherever. Let's say you get hungry. You know the guy that owns one of the best restaurants in Paris because you're one of the richest fucking people in the world. Right. You walk into that restaurant, you eat, you leave, and you never have to spend a fucking dime.
I think you told me that once, like celebrities and shit like that. They never have to. They don't.
But this isn't celebrities. This is like the way that they do it, and the way the guy explained it was that's why rich people send their kids to certain schools like Princeton and Harvard, because they specifically join these certain clubs to learn signaling. So they learn how to dress, like what specific clothes to wear, how to wear them, how to walk, how to talk, how to approach certain people, how to do all this stuff so people know that you're in this class, so that they don't treat you any different. So unless you know how to signal people this specific way, or you've built the wealth and the influence in order to get that kind of level of influence, or for your kids at least, right, then you'll never, no matter how much money you make, you'll never be accepted into that class. Right. Like you'll be able to go around spending your millions of dollars or billions, but the real elite will just kind of be snickering at you from up there like,
new money.
Yeah, this guy's spending, he has to spend his money like a sucker.
Like new money. Yeah,
but it's like, so that tripped me out. So I got to thinking about it, and I was like, it's interesting that like people hold on to their culture, and most culture cripples you from getting up a level in class in America. Because if you're only about being black, and I guess I'm privileged at this because I'm mixed, right? So I claim no culture. I'm not religious and I'm mixed, so I have no dog in any fight. I just observe and find it interesting. But I appreciate all the cultures. They're interesting, but this is the problem with it, is that like for one, if you're black, you're going to feel like you're automatically being oppressed, or you're being kept down, or this or that. You're going to believe
the history that they teach.
Exactly. You're going to believe in this Black Lives Matter bullshit, this whole fucking preachy bullshit, this whole SJW bullshit. You're going to believe in all that crap, and you're not going to fucking follow what the truth is, which is just do your fucking best, and people will respect you. Demand it. Exactly. Demand it. Earn it. And then, you're going to...
Commitment to excellence.
Yeah, but if you're stuck in believing that, a black guy's got to sag his pants, a black guy's got to talk like this, I'm not going to act like a white guy because they're trying to appropriate me and blah, 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 or they're trying to fucking, what is it called? Assimilate me. Right. Then you're being just stupid, man, because who the fuck is going to give a guy... Okay, I'll tell you another thing. Most millionaires are in manager positions, right? They're in high-level manager positions.
Leadership roles.
High-level manager positions specifically for some fucking reason. They did this study, I found out. I read a lot of studies. So who is going to give some dude walking in, sagging his pants with Nikes on, fucking talking all ghetto as shit, a position like that? You get what I mean? Like, you can't keep it real. You're not going to work your way up doing that, man.
A Mexican kid that talked like that. I was training him at the old job that I was at. And I specifically told him, I said, dude, you're going to have to learn how to modify your speech if you're going to have if anybody's going to take you seriously. Because you're not just calling Compton or Carson or East LA. You're going to be calling Roger Palos Verdes. You're going to be calling
not just Hills. That, but even if you are.
But no, I'm just saying, people who own $1 million homes that don't speak like that. They're going to tend not to take you serious, but you want to help them upgrade their home. And he thought about that, and he actually went to school, just to like one of these local colleges here, these community colleges, and took English and speech and seriously modified his speech because he didn't realize, and I didn't know that, but he didn't realize he was doing it.
Yeah, see, this guy is going to end up being successful because he's not.
He already is. He said me as like his Facebook thing. He has his own business now.
See what I'm saying?
He's a business owner.
It's because you said that to him. It's because this motherfucker didn't sit there and say, "Oh man, I got to keep it real though." He was like, "Yo, you're fucking right. Like money.
It's money.
I need money and fuck everything else. I can talk like this when I'm around my friends or family if they really need me to. And that's more about talking your language, like speaking your home language, your native language, if it's different from English. It's more about that because business in general is done in English around the world. You did shipping, you know that.
Of course.
So it's like you should be able to have a proper command of the English language if you feel like you're going to be successful in anything, regardless of what it is. And you should be able to. You should know that when you walk in a room, you don't just sit down. You get what I mean? You ask or you wait until somebody offers you to be seated. Like general politeness that you don't let. Unfortunately, some people don't have the parents to teach them that type of stuff. I was raised by an old white lady, so I learned all that stuff at a young age, and knowing not to put your elbows on the table when you eat and things like that, very basic stuff. But it's not basic to a lot of people, and that's what keeps them down. And that's the sad part is that they think that what's keeping them down is their race or their culture or anything like that, and it is. And it's because you're clinging to it. Let that shit go. Look at motherfuckers like Morgan Freeman, or look at motherfuckers like Samuel L. Jackson, or that. Do you think that Samuel L. Jackson goes up to directors and shit's like, "Hey man, what's up going on?" You have Chris Rock. When's the last time you see? Not Chris Rock. I'm sorry, Chris Tucker. Right. Chris Tucker talk like that all the time. When's the last time you saw him in a fucking movie? Ice Cube tried to pay him for fucking with weed in Friday. That's how serious they took him.
Wow.
Nobody takes that guy serious because the way that he speaks. He doesn't respect himself enough to learn how to speak. If this guy who is barely a telemarketer could to spend his little bit of money that he gets, unfortunately that they get paid garbage, to go and take speech classes or go to a community college, find free classes, whatever it was. Right. He put effort out there. Chris Tucker didn't. Is he doing good now? Is he successful? Again, Dave Chappelle, one of the most successful black people. Oprah, all these successful black people, none of them speak
the way they do. Yeah,
like a real nigga. None of them speak like that because it would be ridiculous.
They don't be talking like
Nobody
that.
wants to hang around that shit, man.
Like,
and fucking even what's his name? That jackass that always dresses in drag. Tyler Perry. No, Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. Oh, man.
Tyler Perry.
That dude was homeless under a bridge.
But look again how he carries himself when he's not in drag. He makes that shit into a caricature. He makes fun of fucking black people like that. To the point that they go and they see this shit and don't even know he's making fun of them. People don't even get that.
Another successful black man, a lot of people don't give him his due, man, but it's the guy, Dr. J. No, is it Dr. J?
Dr. Dre?
No. The guy who owns the El Capitan Theater. He was a Laker. What was his name?
I don't remember. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's that guy. He was he owns part of the Dodgers now.
Oh, Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson. That dude, you know how many businesses that guy owns in LA County alone? Yeah. He owns a lot of guys. He was one of the few NBA basketball players that was real smart with his money.
Yeah.
He was very, very smart with his money, invested it wisely, and look at him now. Dodgers were about ready to fall apart, man, and he stepped up and he said, all right. And he got investors together to buy it off the McCourts. Remember, they were battling against.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that? We talked about that.
Shit.
That was man. She took up half his shit. But still, like Magic Johnson. I forgot his name. I apologize, but he owns El Capitan Theater.
I didn't know he owned El Capitan.
Yeah, he owns the El Capitan Theater.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, he owns a lot of stuff, man. And the only thing people remember him in the 80s was he caught HIV.
Yeah.
And again, but and at the time nobody really knew that much about the disease or the virus when that everybody just like shunned him. But this guy sacked away his money and became really big successful businessman and rich. And now he can buy the medication he needs to keep himself healthy.
There you go.
He didn't get rid of it.
South part?
What?
Where they were making fun of that. They said that the cure for HIV or the cure for AIDS was just blended money. Like he just blended up money and injected it.
Oh yeah. Or maybe just drank it or something. Like this guy now is rich enough to afford the top of the line medicine. And he's still alive and he's still making money to this day. Magic Johnson. It's crazy, but. These people should serve as the example to other.
That's what black people should be. That's what people should want to be. It's like the pinnacle of their culture, not the lower class. Right. But like I said, people only see the lower, the class above and the class below.
And I would like to also add something is because I've been watching these SJW people who are just like so pretentious. It's like. Okay.
Oh yeah, I got something I want to talk about.
It's like they perpetuate those ideals. You're the victim. It's white privilege that's why you're being oppressed and all this stuff. And you got these people who are egging them on, and brainwashing them. It's like, and I fully believe that all goes back to the classroom, our educators. Our educators are planting these seeds in our young kids' minds. They're impressionable, so they're going to believe what the teachers tell them.
I'm going to do some research. I'm going to find the source of this shit because I don't think it's just the teachers. I don't think it's just the teachers. I think it's a lot because the students are attacking a lot of teachers. You know what I mean?
If those teachers have conservative views.
But the thing is that when you look at the classes that they can take, like what they're excusing as courses, like fucking gender stuff, like all this stuff, which is just like, if you go to an alternative art school or something, I get that. You're supposed to learn bullshit that's not going to make you any money.
These are straight out of the university.
But they're not, and none of this. This is again goes back to why I'm okay with them banning ethnic studies in that school, because I don't think this is where you need to fucking learn this. You know what I mean? Like this is bullshit. This is like shit that should be taught as
I was sort of reading the article, and there's a reason why she did that. And all you read is people just reading the headline. The catcher. I'm
telling you, I read it and I agree.
Okay, Hispanic students fill nearly half the seats in Arizona's public schools, but the Governor Jan Brewer Tuesday makes it illegal for those students to learn about their heritage in school. They should be learning that in school because they're learning politics. It should be your heritage to your parents.
Yeah.
And but the thing was, her point of this was that she was prohibiting schools that are offering courses at any grade level that advocate ethnic solidarity, that promote the overthrow of the United States government, or cater to specific ethnic groups, regulations which will dismantle the state's popular Mexican American Studies programs.
That's what I'm talking about.
So basically, so you got, now that would be a very hard thing to do, but you think like,
it's the thing is that it's why what the fuck are you doing teaching this in school? Like this is what pisses me off, man, because I'm not talking shit at all about Indians or foreigners or anything, but they come over here and people talk about Mexicans taking jobs. These motherfuckers took over Silicon Valley and nobody noticed or cared except for fucking American programmers who were like, what the fuck? I can't afford my house anymore. I got fired. This guy came in and did my job for half the price. They fired half of us. They automated my shit. And it's because, and we have nobody to take their place because these fucking little idiots are too busy running around looking to blame or protect other people for no fucking reason than some stupid belief that doesn't have any fucking value. It's pointless. Your stupid culture means absolutely shit to the rest of the world. Shit doesn't mean anything. Do you think for 1 second that you show up to a fucking job and they go, hey, you're Mexican, that's great, that's what we needed, a Mexican? Like, who the fuck says that?
No,
or, hey, you're black. That's great. You're black. We needed a black guy. Or, hey, you're white. We needed a white guy. No, it's what can you do? They don't give a fuck what color you are. And right now they're teaching them this bullshit. This is that, and this culture, this, and this, and this, and what gender you are, and get your pronouns right. Now we got a list of pronouns. Remember these, and make sure you judge blah, blah, blah. What bathroom are you going to go piss in? And da-da-da-da-da. And all of it is pointless when they should be teaching these kids how to fucking program, how to code, how to write video games.
How to get a job. I mean, they don't even...
They won't be able to if they don't know how to code, if they don't know how to program, if they don't know how to think critically. Programming teaches you how to think critically, teaches you math, teaches you language, teaches you what syntax is, the importance of getting every punctuation right when you're writing something. And then you can use what you learn to make games, to make websites, to make video, to make anything that you want.
Right.
Meanwhile, you're crippling these kids, telling them that their culture means something. It doesn't until you're at home. When you're at home, then let your family teach you all the culture. Me, I'll tell everybody, I'm married to a Mexican woman. That's, as far as me, my kids' culture. Mm-hmm. That's because I have nothing to offer them in that regard. I can teach them about all the cultures, and that's it. But I'm not going to tell them I'm not Muslim. My name might make people think it, but I'm not Muslim. I'm not Christian. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm mixed race. I'm nothing to anybody that matters. And I just need to tell my kids, like, what mattered to me then was just getting rid of that and just thinking about what can I offer the world? How can I be good? How can I be useful? The other day I woke up, I made my wife laugh her ass off because I woke up and there was like a stack of dishes in the kitchen for like 2 days because we went to see the movie and all that.
Right.
I woke up early, I did all the dishes and everything, and then she came in the living room like, there's a fucking mess of dishes in the living room. How come you're not washing the dishes? I was giving her shit. She's like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, she kind of freaked out a little. It was funny. And then she gets all ready to go wash the dishes, and then she's all telling me, she's like, yeah, but you got to clean up the living room. She's like, oh, you wash the dishes, huh?
Oh. You got her.
I got her good. But, like, that's what I'm saying is be useful, because when you're useful, that's when you matter to people. And other than that, you don't. So all this stuff about...
It's like, how can you make me or make the company more money? How can you be useful in that regard?
Or what can you teach people? Or how can you better their life in any way? And learning how this used to be part of Mexico and how Mexico deserves our land isn't going to teach... It's not going to teach them any of that. It's not going to teach them anything except a reason to hate people.
Exactly.
And that's all culture does. It teaches you a reason to hate people until you find, like your solidarity in it and your comfort with it and all that. And you learn how to expose yourself to other cultures comfortably. Culture just teaches you a reason to show yourself in and hate everybody else or not interact with them at all. Because you're like, no, they're not part of my little group here, so I don't want to bother with them. And I'm not about that shit. I like to learn about everybody. So
say what you want about Mexico and Mexicans, but man, next time you turn on your television, wonder where that shit got assembled at. And I used to, like I said, I used to work in the shipping business, and I tell you, man, I can't. Man, they have this thing called la micaladora. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. What that is there was certain. I think you told me that. I think you kind of get the gist, but certain components are made overseas in like, let's say Japan or China.
Yeah.
Just the components. They're shipped here to the United States where they're not assembled here. They're shipped across south of the border to Mexico where they are assembled there.
Yeah.
And the finished product, when it's brought back over, it's the finished product. Yeah. And that's where the duties and taxes are levied. Now, Mexico gets a big a tariff break.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the NAFTA, La Micaladora, because it's assembled there. Volkswagen had an assembly plant down there.
A lot of people do, yeah.
A lot of people do. I mean, but televisions were like the main thing, because Americans love their TV. Yeah, I mean, I love TV. I got a big TV. It's just that, say what you want, but at the end of the day, if you're sitting there protesting all this stuff, how are you contributing to that? How are you making?
They feel like they're moving forward. This is again what I'm saying.
This is putting those assembling. If you guys go to the other side, look at that. How many Mexicans are involved in that process? All of them are. That's called a job. Yeah. They are working. They are being, productive people in their society.
You're giving them an excuse not to jump across the border.
Exactly. I mean, you have to.
If that's what you're trying to avoid.
Well, I mean, but then you've got your migrant workers, people that work the fields and all this stuff. But that's neither here nor there. But what I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of people that live in Mexico that are Mexicans, that are nationals, that, I think Trump, which I don't agree with, he wants to modify this very, very much. He
wants to fuck the whole trade up.
He wants to fuck this whole thing up, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, but what about all those people that live in San Isidro and Tijuana?
This is what I'm saying.
A lot of these places have those assembly plants, these assembly lines where they put together all this stuff, are consumer electronics, which is what Americans consume and buy.
This is what I'm saying is the problem with him, is that it's his history leads him to these kind of politics. That's what I was saying earlier. It's a history of not giving a fuck about anybody except to him and his friends and his bottom line. And that's, at the end of the day, all he cares about. When this fucking moron, this epitome of everything that's fucking wrong with the world, decided to come out with this solar wall idea. And then I jump on Twitter and I'm looking at the people going, yeah, what are these fucking liberals going to say about this? And I was all like, you guys are so fucking retarded. Okay, did you see the picture of the stupid wall they wanted to build?
No.
It was like this big wall with a curved solar panel on it, facing kind of tilted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the Mexico line runs east-west. You and me both work in solar, right?
Right.
So that means that in order
you have to have it in the southern.
In order to get the most out of it, the panels want to face either the direction that the sun is rising or the direction that the sun is setting, preferably the direction that the sun is rising, or just on top. So when you have east-west facing roofs or whatever you're putting your panels on, you want to face them straight up, because you don't have like you said, you don't have the chance to put them north or south. What this fucking wall did was face the panels south on Mexico side, right?
Right.
So again, it slanted on Mexico side. And again, one, you're not going to be able to get enough power from that to do anything meaningful, really. You'll get some,
right?
Not enough. Secondly, the panels are on Mexico side, you idiot.
Yeah, they're on Mexico side. So they
what do you think?
This
guy thinks Mexicans are so stupid. This is how little he thinks of them. That they're not just going to fucking jump up there and just start fucking with them.
Yeah, of course.
Of course they're going to fuck with them. And then you hear him in the speech where he's all like, oh, we're going to build this wall and it's going to be solar. So Mexico's going to have to pay less money, derp. And everybody's applauding him. But that's even dumber, because I thought people didn't like Mexico. So why would they care that we're saving the money? That's besides the point. If you take that whole solar panel, right? Let's just say he does it. Let's say he does it right. Let's say he does it and faces him up. The amount of effort that you're going to have to put into getting that power through the fucking desert to anywhere where it's going to do anybody any fucking good is going to be so ridiculously expensive.
I was going to say, how are they going to collect the power and then send the power somewhere?
There's no roads. You have to build an access road along that entire wall in order for people to be able to access that to do repairs. Then you have to build the lines and all that shit, repeaters, batteries, all that shit you need to build. Relays to everything, all that infrastructure. When you have right there tons of dirt roads going right through the desert that's just north of Mexico. You can literally put a gigantic solar farm there. They could use tracking solar panels, because you'd have to space it. Oh, he said he was going to use tracking solar panels on the wall. Tracking solars on the pole, where they're directly side by side. How are they going to move, you fucking idiot? But anyway, yeah, so you could do tracking solar panels right out there in the desert and do it like right next to the city, and you'll be fine. And they have all the access roads and everything. But it was just, that shit blew my mind.
He's just talking out the side of his neck. He doesn't even really know what the hell. I mean, he doesn't even know the actual science and engineering that's involved. He's just talking. He's a guy who's not a politician by what they call it, by trade or by career. He's a real estate agent. He's basically a real estate agent.
He's a salesman.
He's a salesman. Yeah, real estate salesman. So it doesn't surprise me that he doesn't know anything about.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. Just why doesn't he shut the fuck up then? He doesn't need to sell anything. He's president.
He doesn't need to try to sell it. But, that's just...
He's already started his campaign for the next election.
I noticed that. You notice he's having rallies? I mean, he just hasn't even finished 100 days yet. And he's holding rallies. It's like...
Oh, he finished 100 days.
No, but...
Oh, before he finished,
Before he hit his... Before he wasn't even in office, and he was already, like, going to different states and cities having rallies. It's like, that don't make no sense. I was like, well, I never seen the president do that.
No.
Other than him.
No. In most countries, it's illegal to run that early. You can't campaign within a certain amount of time.
I don't think he's campaigning. I just think he's having...
No, he is. He is campaigning.
Really?
He legitimately came out the other day and said they're having a campaign fundraiser rally. Oh, yeah, they had a fundraiser down the street from the White House for his next campaign.
Really?
This guy's a scumbag, dude.
He hasn't even finished a year
This
yet.
is what doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is that people are like, wow, he's doing this. I'm happy that people are reporting on it because other fucking people need to know that he's a damn fucking scumbag, and people should have realized that.
Yeah, he's not the most honest guy, but then again, what salesman usually is?
Or politician, but at least politicians have a career banking on that. He doesn't, so it doesn't matter if he fucks up everything. He'll just go back to selling real estate in other countries. He doesn't fucking care.
Right. I mean, that's just
he doesn't care. He's got no loyalty. But anyway,
but I mean, it's just this bottom line
about those SJWs.
Yes.
About those SJWs. You know what I found out is a new thing they're doing?
What's that?
I don't know if this can be considered a SJW or a millennial thing, but it's one of those. It's called tip shaming.
What's tip shaming?
These people will go online and post videos and pictures of people that left them shitty tips at restaurants and complain about it.
Really? Wow.
Like they're fucking privileged to hear money. I don't know how do you feel about tipping in general?
I mean, if you provide a good service, I provide you a nice
Let me ask you, do you think that tipping should exist or should they just get paid according to how good they are?
No, I think it's okay. They call it a gratuity. Okay, a gratuity. It comes from a root word of being grateful.
Yeah.
That you're appreciating that they provided a good service for you. If this person is like, they have you can tell they don't want to be there. Their attitude stinks. They get your order wrong or what have you or whatever.
Yeah.
And they expect a gratuity. That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
but there's a computer in my head.
It's not so much that they expect it. I mean, some of them are complaining because they don't get it, and some of them are complaining because they feel like they didn't get enough. Like somebody had $100 and something ticket, and they only gave them like a $10 tip or something, and they're just like, "Oh, it's all another 20% because you had a party of this." And it's just ridiculous.
Okay.
First,
can I give you an example? Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
yeah, it's fine.
I want to give you an example. Remember, I told you I had my car detailed.
You tipped the guy.
I tipped him, but the guy who wrote me up, the guy that's usually the supervisor that writes the ticket, tries to work the deal with you. He goes, "Yeah, you might want to tip my guy, because he's doing the work and everything like that. Usually $25." And I'm sitting there like, why is he telling me how much to tip the guy? Yeah, but this is what had transpired. Okay, they ran my car through the car wash. My car is black. In case people that don't know, my car is black. And there is no shade, no cover at this particular car wash. And it was particularly hot and sunny that day. So they already, their little detail area is only ran by I think maybe 4 guys. 2 guys per car. They're working on cars. So I'm standing there in the waiting area. They said, yeah, it's going to take about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So I'm sitting there waiting after my car came out of the car wash. And it sat there and baked and dried and nobody picked up a towel. Nobody wiped it down. It just had hard water stains all over my black car. And nobody even touched it. And it sat there for over an hour. And I'm waiting and waiting. I'm talking to these people and I said, I paid, and I'm not saying this to brag or nothing, but I mean, look, I paid $160. to have the car washed, shampooed, clay barred, polished, and waxed. I wanted it to look nice because I mean it looked like the way the finish of the car, the way the paint felt like it hadn't been done in years. So
Yeah.
I just finally broke down and had it done. Well, they said, well, yeah, one of the guys that were the detailers, he called in sick today. Oh, blah blah blah. It's going to be a little while longer. And I said, well, look, the whole time, I wish you had told me that before I paid for that, because you were sitting there working a deal with me that you'd include this, the shampoo, and everything. I'm thinking that my car is going to get detailed, all the while it's sitting out in the parking area under the hot sun, drying, with hard water stains. That's not what I paid $160 for. You don't have the manpower, the personnel to do it, and you're backlogged, then why sell it? So what they did was they gave me a prepaid ticket. In other words, I could come back at any time I wanted, and it would show that I prepaid it, and they would do that. So I came the very next morning, right when they opened up, and there was no excuse that they didn't have anybody. But I gave the guy a $15 tip because, one, of the inconvenience that I had to go through. It had nothing to do with them. I understand that. But it's like,
why the fuck did you tip him?
I did it. I tipped him $15.
Why?
No, but that's the thing. But I mean, I tipped him something, but I wasn't going to tip the guy $25.
Look,
I had to come back. And like I said, my car was like completely ignored. I mean,
well, then fuck them. They don't deserve a tip at all, the dumb fucks. They should have taken care of your shit. You paid them to take care of your shit. They didn't take care of your shit. They fucked up the job. They made you drive back again to do more work that you paid for.
Yeah, they gave me a
that you paid for, and then you paid them more money.
No, I didn't pay them more money.
Yeah, you did. You gave them a tip.
Yeah, I paid them.
You gave them a fucking tip.
Because I felt, those guys.
Because you felt bad.
I felt bad
Why?
for the guys. But the thing was, I don't know. But the thing
Why?
Was, but the thing is, I didn't tip them the $25.
It doesn't matter because he played you. He told you to tip him 25, knowing you would tip him 10.
Nah.
He sold you. But the thing is, that tipping is bullshit. And here's what the people will tell you is that, like, okay, in pretty much every other country, tipping, they don't do that. In Japan, they consider it a fucking insult.
Yeah, in Germany, they don't do that.
And it's an insult in Japan. It's like, you don't tip me. Like, what do you think? My boss doesn't pay me? Like, we're poor or something?
Right.
Like, what do I need your extra money for? I work. But here, people are so fucking lazy, or business owners are so just dirty that, like, okay, you'll hear that argument of, oh, I don't make enough money because, my boss doesn't pay me minimum wage. Oh, that's bullshit, because they have to pay the minimum wage.
Right.
That's bullshit. They might not give you enough hours, but guess what? There's a fuckload of restaurants, motherfucker. You can work 2 of them. I've worked 4 jobs at a time. I've worked 4 jobs with no car in LA at one time. So they can shut the fuck up if they're not making enough money. They need to go out and find another place and quit begging me for it. Because you're not a beggar. You're working. You're earning your money. If you got a problem with what they're paying you and you're depending on me to make your ends meet, you need to talk to your boss and get a fucking raise. Or you need to let me talk to your boss and I'll tell him to give you a fucking raise if I feel like you deserve it. I'll speak up for you. I'm not just going to hand you money, but I will go to your boss and be like, hey, next time I come in here, I want to see their check making $1 more. I want to see $1 raise on this motherfucker's check because they did a good job and they're the reason that you got 4 extra tables tonight because their service was fast and on point, or whatever they did that was awesome. I'm going to come back now. You got a repeat customer because of them. That means you owe them money. Right. You, not me. You. I don't own your fucking business. I have no business paying your customers. If you're such a shitty business owner that you can't afford to pay your employees what they deserve, I don't want to eat at your restaurant because somebody's probably spitting in my food because they're mad at you. So fuck you and your shitty restaurant and fuck your tip. I went to Denny's one time and I left the tip on the table and I paid with the card. And the lady's like, oh, no tip. When I looked at the card, I never went back to that Denny's. I was like, fuck you, lady. Like, I left the tip on the table and I was like, no. I'm like, I don't give tips. And then I just walked out. That lady gave me like this dirty ass look, but I had left the tip on the table, a fat ass tip, because I brought my kids and I felt bad. Right. So I left them like a $10 something, $11, $12 tip for like a fucking $13 meal. It was like I left them
double for it.
Yeah, I paid basically double for it, but I didn't care. And like, The thing is that it's like, how do you have the audacity to just be like, oh, what, no tip? Like, fuck you. And then she's working in front of the house and she looked like the manager. And it's like, yeah, you know, Denny's, they dress different, the manager, so you can kind of tell.
Right.
So like, this lady's the manager and she's sitting over here giving me shit about not paying her employee. You know, like, again, pay your fucking employee. If you've gotten to the point that I'm responsible for half your employee's income, then I want half your business's income. I'm paying half for my meal then. Why is my meal costing this much if your fucking employees are starving and depending on me to feed them on top of paying for my meal?
That makes sense.
No, fuck you. It's one thing, like you said, for service, I guess. I guess for good service, but again, that's stupid. If the guy did a good job and made you not come back the next day, the first customer in that door would have gotten done quicker. That business owner would have made more money, had a better excuse to fucking pay them.
So let me ask
guy.
you a question. Okay.
I always tip.
But I just like to use this as an example because when I'm in, like when I go to Vegas and I play table games, you know, usually if you hit like a nice little winning streak, you know,
You tip the dealer?
You tip the dealer. Most people do. I've seen it all the time.
Yeah.
But would you be against that? If say that guy was giving you blackjack like 4 or 5 times in a row, you were racking up the chips.
Okay.
A gratuity would not be in order.
There's 2 things that make that way different of a situation.
Okay.
One is the fact that it's more of a service and it's more of a relaxed environment and it's more of like the rapport that the dealer has with you and stuff like that.
Right.
Like if you like chilling with this guy or if he's giving you good recommendations on food or drinks or hotels or something like that, you know. If he's a cool cat, then yeah, you know, you want to give him some extra money. That's fine. And the other thing that makes it way different is that you're making more money off that guy.
Yeah.
If you win $100 hand and you tip that guy $50 and you're still up $100. I'm saying if you made 100 over what you betted. Let's say you bet $20, you won $120. You keep your $20 in. You get that guy $50. You're still $50 richer. It doesn't fucking matter. It's free money.
Right.
You shouldn't be selfish with free money. Easy come, easy go. Like let it go. Don't fucking try to latch onto it. Because you shouldn't be dependent on that money either. It's a game. You should just be going to have fun anyway.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, of course. If you get extra, give it to the guy.
Now let me ask you this question. Now say you that same dealer. He's you know, handing you cars where you're busting out, like, you know, you're going over, you know, you're like 5, 6 times off. You're like, you know, you're light on your chips, and the shift changed. Would you tip him? So here you go, buddy. At least no,
if he was cool,
but you know what? Most people don't.
If he was cool, I would.
You would have?
Yeah, if he was cool, I would.
If he was cool about it, you know, all right, yeah. But I don't see that very often. If he, you know, I mean, because they said the odds are towards the house's favor always, and it's just by chance that you hit like a few winning hands. But most of the time, on average, it's gonna go back to the house. So when he does that, when he does the thing with the hands like that over there, and he like you tip him out. I very rarely tip if I've lost a whole boatload of money.
Because it's hard to. It's hard to
because you're like, I don't want to let go of my chips. That's money.
I gotta get this back.
I gotta try to win some of this shit back, you know. But hey, take it easy, bro. You know, maybe next shift. I don't know. But I'm just like that's the only time I do not tip for some reason. It's just
that, and then like the same thing is again with cab drivers too is another one. I don't tip cab drivers. It's stupid.
Oh, I never tip cab.
I get like an
Uber. This is kind of like a new thing. That am I supposed to tip Uber drivers?
Uber and Lyft or whatever. Yeah, you should because those people are like to me they're like regular people.
Happened. I feel so bad.
They're not working for a business or anything. They're regular people. You know, they're working for a business, but very loosely. And, you know, they're just somebody hooking you up with a ride. And, yeah, they're getting a cut of the money. And, yeah, they make a little bit of money. But say, for example, your ride.
Making the majority of the money?
If your ride is like $6, I think they only make probably like $2-3 at most.
Oh, because like a couple of times I've had, like when I had my upholstery done on my car, like remember I had the door panels done, I had called an Uber.
But back then, Uber wasn't taking tips. They just started doing
okay, because I just never knew that they took
They would take cash tips, like if you gave the guy cash. And I'm all about that because, you know, they have a lot of expenses and they're not getting paid that much.
And you're riding in their car.
Yeah, and it's a different kind of thing to me. It's more personal and it's like, I don't know, I feel like they're doing you more of a favor in that. And it's like, hook them up a little. You know they're making not that much. I always feel like if your ride's cheap, you should just double up. Like if your ride's $6, just give them $12. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck is the harm to
No,
you?
they take the money right out of your.
That's what
account
I'm
when you
saying.
got
That's
it.
what I'm saying. Yeah, but you tip them on. You know, you tip
Oh,
them,
like give them $6.
give
like,
them an extra $6 either in cash or on the tip app.
But they say that
It's better to do it in the
Uber
app.
driver rates the passenger now.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Is that?
I think so. I
is that a
think
new
I
thing?
haven't looked into that. I don't use any of those.
Yeah, apparently they know who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, like you can, like you do know who the driver is, but the thing is that they have star ratings or something like ratings. They rate this passenger.
Yeah.
If he was a total asshole,
I
you're gonna
agree
go
with
down-
that.
You
I
know,
agree
they're gonna
with
say,
that.
"Oh, they blow you off," you know.
Yeah, because people take advantage of that shit that they can rate other people and you can't do shit about it. It's
And
like,
I
no,
was-
you should
and
be
I
able
was-
to.
I was, what do they call it? I was, and when I talked to these Uber drivers, like, remember some of the videos that we saw on YouTube? Like that one chick goes, "Yeah, my boyfriend. Remember that one? She's in the back seat, just totally like cussing out the."
Was that the guy with the
freaking Uber-
the hula thing? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking
the hula
about?
thing. But there was another girl. She was like, she wouldn't.
Hawaiian culture with that. Oh,
Yeah, and
God.
she was just like,
Ugh.
and he pulls the car over and said, "You know, get the hell out of my."
Yeah, I
car."
heard about that one. I don't
But
remember
then,
watching
yeah,
it.
but there was another one where there was like some black girl, and she said that she was calling her boyfriend to come over and kick his ass, the driver's ass, and he's all like, "Man, just get out my car," and she's like, "No," and she didn't want to get out. She was just like being really like obnoxious, and I forget, baby, she was just like totally like just giving this guy a hard time. And he finally just said, "Nah, man, let's just." You go your way, I'll go mine. Get out my car, you know.
Yeah.
And she was just like, she wasn't having it.
Did you call it? Did she get
goes-
out or did you call the cops?
she said, "I'm going to call the police because you're leaving me in." I said, "Nah, I don't have to, you know, because it's just, I don't know." Like she wanted her to take him to a safe area or some shit like that. I forget, but it was just a sidewalk, you know. It's just, I think that yes, I think it's a good idea that Uber drivers can rate the passenger, but I'm thinking, will they rate you if like say you forgot the tip? Then all of a sudden,
I don't think they'll be that harsh.
they're gonna be like, "Oh, this guy is out of tip, and like da da da." You know,
You might get a reputation for not being a tipper, but whatever.
Right.
They'll still give you a ride. They want their money.
Yeah, I guess. I'm thinking like the
And then it's actually better because then you know that they're not expecting it.
when did they institute this tipping thing? on
Like a
Uber?
couple of weeks ago. If that,
Oh, okay. Because I thought maybe
Uber,
the
Lyft always did, but Uber just started because they
Really?
changed CEOs because their old CEOs are shit.
that's right. They said that guy was
He was a
yeah.
total shitbag. I'm gonna pause this for 1 second.